Hi and welcome to Cafe Chronicles. In this episode we're going to be looking at fiberglass. I'm Steve.
I'm Dan.
And thanks for tuning in. In this episode we're going to be looking at fiberglass, specifically the seat of our KZ750 budget cafe racer build. Fiberglass is totally new to me. It's new to Dan, I think, too. So we know nothing about this, only what we've read on the interweb. But hey, you know, thankfully for things like YouTube, we can learn this stuff. And if you guys haven't kind of seen the kind of premise of this channel, the whole concept was I wanted a cafe racer and I wanted to try and give it a go myself, but I didn't have any experience. This whole channel is about chancers like Dan and I starting to really try something that we haven't tried before, and that is customizing motorcycles. But the whole thing is we want to do it safely and we want to do it properly and have a nice bike at the end of it. And this build in season 2, we want to do it inexpensively too and on a budget. When it comes to fiberglass, like I said, I don't have any experience, but I have looked at a lot of stuff online, lots of reading forums, same with Dan, and we have a little bit of a shopping list of stuff that we've kind of gotten that we want to go through and tell you about. We've picked up some matting. There is lots of different material that you can use for fiberglass. We selected a woven cloth, and I believe it's a plain style woven cloth. So we'll have a look at that. There's lots of different styles, lots of different weights. This is what I went for. Let's chance it and see what it's like. We also got some resin. And the resin is basically the liquid that you pour on this material, and it's got a hardening agent in it that we mix in. Once we mix it in, we're going to brush it on top of that material, and that's what really kind of gives it, the material gives it that strength and rigidity. We also picked up some rollers. They're specifically for fiberglass. A lot of people say you really need to do that, and the reason why is because if that material doesn't absorb all that resin, well, then it leaves weaknesses and weak points, and over time with the flexing of that piece, then it starts to kind of break down. The other thing is that we have to make sure that no air bubbles are left within the mold that we make either. I'm going to show you some shots of the rollers as well, but what you'll see is on the roller, it's almost like little nickels or coins all lined up on a roller. The idea is to agitate it, massage the material and make sure that it's absorbing all of that resin. We also have some cellophane that we're going to use to wrap around the frame of the bike, just so that that hardener, that resin, doesn't just harden and stick to the frame. Some people online say you should put wax on everything and then it's nice and easy to take off, but anyone that I've seen on YouTube doing this, they just wrap it in cellophane and it comes off really easy. As always, it's our first time doing it. You're going to see maybe what goes well and what doesn't go so well. Hopefully it's mostly well, but hey, things have gone wrong before, but we get through it. So here we have a container to mix our resin in there and hardener. We have some measuring cups, some stir sticks, cheap paintbrush from the dollar store, some saran wrap to wrap the frame in. We have our rollers for fiberglass. We have our fiberglass resin. It's Bondo in this particular instance. And then we have our matting. So this time, let's not get stuck in. Okay, so quarter of this, quarter tube of hardener, that's easy. Even I can remember that.
All of one, all of the other.
I don't think we'll have to use it all. I think it goes far. That's what I hear online, but we'll see. I think we should mix up a half. So brush a coat on there first, then lay out the cloth, roll it, and then start to dab over. Allow material to harden approximately 1.5 to 2 hours at 24 degrees Celsius. Curing will take longer in colder temperatures. Cool. Like a mad scientist here. I'm worried about it hardening. That's okay. Take it down to about there.
Now, if I drop the camera in, Steve will be very cross with me.
Don't do that. I watch so many adventure blogs and stuff online with guys like riding GSs all over the world. Man, the amount of drones that people lose constantly, oh my gosh, I feel so bad for those guys. They're expensive, and you know, you save up to get those things and you're so proud of them and you love the shots they take, and you're trying to take good footage for a channel, and then boom, something happens to it. It's not fair.
I mean, we don't have any motorcycle parts stuck to us, so I'll call that away.
The hell is this? I was really afraid this was going to be a mess. Worried that if we tried to do too much, especially with the two of us working together, it's been a bit of a learning curve, I suppose. One, learning to work on motorcycles. Two, working together, right? Because you don't know how somebody's going to work, and quite often the two of us kind of get stuck into something, doing something quickly. Dan will start working on one thing, I'll kind of go to the other. We always have to try and make sure that we're filming it, and sometimes we do things too quick, so we have to go back and try and film it. I was afraid that maybe the two of us would take the same approach with this. We'd start like kind of racing ahead, you know, kind of getting up to our arms, literally, as you said earlier, getting stuck in. So I was kind of thinking, oh my god, this could be awful. Plus, I get really stressed out when there's a time constraint around something drying, like painting and things like that. I get totally stressed out by it. I turn into, like, you know, you can imagine the worst Jack Bauer that there could ever be. The one that would like have a meltdown and panic. That'd be me. I like to plan things, take my time with them, you know, that kind of a situation. I'd be the one with the gun. So I think it worked out quite well. The only thing is, like we said at the start, this is this woven cloth, so it basically has this just over and back weaving. It's light, it's lightweight, and that can be seemingly not good because you have to put a lot more layers for it to get it harder. Other people say, no, it's great, it's perfect. So I'm hoping that it's going to do what we need it to do and that it's going to be strong enough. The one thing that we can keep in mind too is that it has that steel pan underneath. The reason why we have a steel pan underneath as well as this, we want to be able to unbolt that seat from that pan, so that if we need to do any, or if Dan needs to do any changes to the upholstery, if it gets ripped, if over time it gets damaged, or he just wants to change the color, it's two separate pieces and he can just simply unbolt it. On top of that too, it means that we don't need the fiberglass to be quite as rigid, maybe as somebody that doesn't have another pan under there. However, I'm interested to see how kind of strong.
Yeah, for the first fiberglass piece, it'll be very interesting to see how it pans out.
See it pans out.
I was mentioning to Steve earlier, I did a lot of research into carbon fiber and fiberglass for an old car project 10 years ago, and then it just never got off the ground. So it's rewarding to see it actually done in the real world.
Yeah.
It's funny how if you imagine something, it doesn't count.
Yeah. But you know, that kind of goes, we mentioned at the start of the video too, the whole thing with this channel is that it's taken something maybe that we've thought about, that we've liked, wanted to have a go at it, but never really had a go. This is doing it, you know. So kind of my motto in the past has been, if I can do it, anybody can do it. But I think since season 1, and if you haven't seen season 1, make sure to check it out, links above. The one thing that I think learned from season 1 and from that whole build is that the hardest part is actually just going through it and doing it and keeping a kind of a cadence to it where you keep going. Having this type of a thing where we're both doing it together definitely helps. I think you kind of hit it on the head with the carbon fiber fiberglass kind of project 10 years ago. That's exactly what this is all about. It's being able to say, right, let's just have a go at it. If we mess it up, we'll have another go, we'll try it again. And we'll try to be as transparent and honest with you guys to show you what's working and what's not.
So one thing that we realized doing this is that it's not a very good winter project when you're dealing with resin, especially this much resin. It does tend to off-gas quite a bit. Make sure that you're in a ventilated area, and ideally if you're not in our delightful northern climate, it is something that you can do outside. Doing it in an enclosed garage, especially with people around upstairs, we did get a couple of complaints as to the noxiousness of the project. Maybe don't budget that for a winter build. It's probably something to tackle when it's outside season.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
For your own safety.
Yeah.
We take these risks so that you don't have to.
Next episode will be like, unfortunately, Steve didn't make it. I hope you guys enjoyed the last episode. It's a very good point though. How much stuff did we use? We used half of that 852 milliliter bottle of resin from Bondo. We used half of the resin and we used half the thickener. Dan has Google Docs, a spreadsheet with all the parts and things that we're buying. You'll see on here the items that we've used. You'll see the prices, where we got them. Again, as I mentioned in other episodes and previous episodes of the build, if there's anything that you guys see on there that you think is nonsense, it's crap, we shouldn't be buying it, please let us know in the comments. If there's something that you'd suggest or recommend that's better, please let us know. If there's anything that you think the build could use, please let us know in the comments as well, because we'll be delighted to have a look and consider actually getting them. So that's it for today's episode. Make sure that you like and that you subscribe if it's a thing that you're enjoying the videos. Stay safe out there, and we'll see you soon.